I'm currently trying to figure out what I think is one of the most important things in my own head that is not quite a solved puzzle. I want people to have the same passion for axes that I do. Why? Why would they? Not everybody can even use these. Not everybody has timber available. Not everybody has a vintage market where they can buy these things for a reasonable price and then restore them, which is a big part of it. It's kind of like some people like going hiking and they enjoy the journey and getting to the top of the mountain where you get that beautiful view. It's just like a little cherry on top. And it's, I think about it similarly. When I restore these hatchets, I actually, sometimes when I restore something, I just wanted to use it. Other times, I think, wow, I really like the job I did on this, and it just looks so good to my eye, and it feels so good in my hands. For instance, this is a broad axe, a double bevel broad axe, which means that there's a bevel on both sides, unlike this, which is a single bevel. So it's flat on this side, and it's got a bevel on this side. So this is a little too heavy for this handle, but this is the handle it came on. And you could see that I kind of redid it and just put a wedge in it. So I didn't do it very well. It works though. And it's not perfectly comfortable. Right now it actually feels kind of light in my hands, but when you use it, it gets pretty heavy pretty quick because this weight is not normally a one-handed tool. This weight is about a 1.5, two-handed tool. And this handle isn't perfectly shaped for how I use it. But I love this thing. It's so big. It's so listen to this. It's not just the tools, it's the noises that they make. When you use a power saw, it's not like, oh, the beauty of that power saw. Now, there are some beauties to an engine. An engine can sound very nice. But when it's cranked up to as high as it goes, I mean, you might want to save your ears for when you're 60, 70 years old. So you might not want to be around that all the time. But with this, when I cut into a piece of wood, when I cut into some wood, listen to that noise. I don't know if you could see this, but this is a piece of beech. When you interact with the wood, it's a texture. It's tactile. It's a tactile feeling. You feel what you're doing. You could really understand the materials, these beautiful raw materials. One of the big reasons why I love axes and hatchets is because I get to see what's inside of a piece of tree. I get to see what happened 50, 100, 200 years ago. Right here was 100 years ago. Maybe not. 20 years ago, right here. So this right here developed when I was like, 10, 15 years old. How cool is that? And I get to peel away those layers little by little, and I get to shape something, whatever I want. I get to decide exactly what it's going to be like. And that's a beautiful thing that hand tools allow. Now, people might say like, oh, well, I enjoy the speed of, say, like chainsaw carving. Yeah, it's very nice. And if you're older and your limbs are feeling the pain of a tough life, sure. But when you have youth, give these a go. I implore you to give these a go. I think every able-bodied man and woman should swing an axe or at least carve with a hatchet. I really truly believe that it's something everybody should try, and I try to get people to do it. I try to get all my friends to try it at least. Not many want to, but when you're an open-minded person, you give it a try, and I think most people enjoy it. And you know what also they understand is, wow, he made it look a lot easier. And honestly, to me now, it is easy. Like I could, look at this. I'm carving with this. I'm holding this in the air, and I'm flattening. Now, if I gave this to someone else that has no experience, now some people are naturals. I don't think I was a natural, but hatchets are definitely way easier than axes. Splitting firewood, it's not that hard. Cross cutting, when it comes to cross cutting with an axe, which is making a notch, that was not natural at all to me. My swing was not natural either when it came to axes. But I mean, a lot of people have experience swinging a hammer, and so it's a lot. Hatchets are a lot like that. So I think that a lot more people will be able to carve than say, buck wood with an axe. There's some real, and I got to know so many trees. I got to really understand what the lumber's going to be like, how it dries. I learned a lot. I would never do this again. I would never dry lumber like this again. Too much air, too much airflow, so it cracks real quick. I would have just put them all together and stacked them up. And actually, East Coast Lumberjack said something I can't believe I didn't realize this, because I knew this, that when you dry a board or a billet that's going to be for a handle and you stick it upright like this, the water will go down. So it's called free water. There's bound water and there's free water. The free water is what will leave the piece of wood quicker. It's not bound up in the cells, I believe. I'm not really sure on that. But I knew this. I knew that the water comes out. And guess what happens when the water goes to this one side? This side dries real quick, and that's why it's going to crack. And I don't know why that didn't click in me before I heard East Coast Lumberjack say that. And so you probably want to put these horizontal. And, I don't know if East Coast Lumberjack said it, but why not? Why not rotate them every now and then? So switch them up like this. And you could even do a 90. Maybe I'll give that a try. So there's so much I learned just because of the axe allowed me to interact with trees. I'm able to identify trees because I got so intimate with the bark. I didn't just see the bark. I split open the wood. I saw the inside of the bark. I took the bark off the tree. I saw the layer in between the bark and the tree. I mean, there's just so much. It's like having a scalpel. Axes and hatchets are like having a scalpel, or not using axes and hatchets are like never having a scalpel and being a doctor, or a surgeon. That wouldn't be possible. Now, obviously, there's people that know all about trees that have never taken an axe or a hatchet to them, but they probably have newer tools to do that. Maybe not. Maybe a dendrologist doesn't care about actually interacting with the wood at all. But you know what? I'm not the kind of guy that can learn in a book like that. I needed to interact with the wood, and the best way for me was through axes and hatchets. And I just can't praise them enough. I just hope that what I'm trying to say is making sense to you guys, and maybe I'm convincing someone, maybe not. I hope I can, though, because what I got out of axes and hatchets is immense. It doesn't need to make you $100,000 a year for it to be something that you really value. We're not talking about money here. We're talking about like what fulfills you outside of that. And this stuff fulfills me. I love wood. I love metal implements. You can sharpen yourself. I love talking about them. The profile and stuff, the design, the lines. Yeah, I used to be into cars, right? And with cars, I need $10,000 to understand a BMW X7 or whatever you want to. I need $20,000 to restore a Skyline, a GTR, a Skyline, an R32 or whatever. But with an axe or hatchet, you can, if you have the regional market, you can spend $20 and you can get files, you can get an axe head, and maybe you can get a handle. Now, for hatchets, it's a lot easier to get a handle that's cheap. For axes, it's not so much easy. But a big part of restoring these vintage tools is the tools you need to restore them. And when it comes to, if you have a market in your area, if you have a regional market where you can get old tools, you might be able to do it for a very reasonable price. And nothing makes a man kind of feel more proud than doing it from, you know, the scratch, the most scratch possible. Now, obviously, I never blacksmith the head, but blacksmiths must feel incredible about themselves when they make something that's functional out of metal. You know, when you take a raw material, and this is where the wood comes in, when you take a raw material and you can make a tool out of it, that's incredible. That's what really makes you feel good about yourself. And if you have a confidence issue and you don't have a thing, hey, if you have trees around you, maybe try the axe. Now, there's a lot of safety, there's a lot of danger to it, and there's a lot of health and safety practices you got to know. But if you're obsessed with it and you love it, you'll figure them out. I hope you'll figure them out. Now, don't wear sandals like me, and that's definitely don't wear sandals. That's not part of health and safety. But yeah, that's my pitch. Get an axe in your hand. This is my the last part of my pitch. Here we go. Here's the last part of my pitch. Why you should care about axes. Put your hand right here. Slide it down. And if you have an old handle, it'll have one of these things called a fawn's foot or a palm swell that's nicely shaped. Your hand will just stop right there. You don't need to be autistic for that to feel nice. It just is good. It's just good. When you do this, when you slide it down and it stops right where you want it to stop, and then your hand just is stuck there, and then you could just use it however you want. That's a beautiful feeling. Thanks for watching, guys.